What it is, YouTube? It's your boy Nitzy coming back with another bullseye of a tutorial here today on the channel. I wanted to ask you guys, what are some ways that y'all like to use Soothe? And also those other resonance plugins. I think that Waves just dropped one of those too called Silk Vocal. So we're just gonna look at that. I wanted to talk to you guys today about how do you like to use plugins like Soothe, Golfos, Spectral Shaper, those type of resonance removing plugins. So I think Soothe is one of the really dope AI plugins. I think AI is actually a wonderful thing, especially because what it does for you as a creative is it allows you to remain in the creative brain, right? So how do you guys feel about AI when it comes to engineering specifically? There's some people who say, oh, AI is the worst thing for engineers, it's going to take our job and all that stuff, which I do not believe in. I think it's actually going to make people better at creating music because you get to remain in your creative brain. You don't got to worry about the technical stuff because there's certain plugins like Soothe, it's Golfos, and all those type of plugins that take care of the kind of like the technical type of stuff. There's other AI plugins too, but how y'all feel about AI? I think that AI is wonderful because your brain, right, has different parts. When you're doing a math, your brain is, there's a certain part of your brain that's doing the math equation. When you're riding on a bike, there's a certain part of your brain that is doing like, making your muscles, your arms and your legs move. And when you're creating art, there's a certain part of your brain that's working the job. So I just think that people who make engineering all about the technical, negative 1.3.5, negative, they sound like they had a goddamn auction. Some engineers, they're negative 1.5.6, negative 3.5, negative 1.3.5, negative sold. I think that people like those engineers, I think in the future AI will definitely hurt them because they made engineering about the wrong thing, which is numbers and technical. It's really actually about the creativity. Engineers were not robots. So let's go over a couple of different ways that I actually like to use Soothe. I like to use Soothe in a different way from a lot of people. Sometimes if I'm working with like a 2-track beat, what I will do with the Soothe is I'll actually like sidechain. I put the Soothe on the 2-track beat, right? And then I might sidechain it like to like a vocal, like to the vocal, and then I'll only have it, only like doing a little bit of the resonance decreasing on like the high mid where the vocal's sitting to open up a little bit of space for the vocal. Another way I love to use Soothe is side chaining the background vocals. So if I have some background vocals where there's like where they're singing, right? And I want the background vocals to be in front of the lead vocal, but dynamically, not necessarily in a static EQing compression, not the normal way, but in a dynamic pumping and breathing, like two people standing in a line and the background vocals skip the person in the line. If I want that kind of dynamic movement, what I'll do with the Soothe is I'll take my like ends or my background vocals and I'll do a side chain, right? Over the lead vocal, and every time that the background vocals come, the lead vocal will back up, right? But that's only if I have really great background vocals that I feel like are driving the music. That's a great way I like to use it. Last way I like to use Soothe in a different way is to actually like reduce transients, right? So with Soothe, it has the oversampling in it too. And one thing I noticed about when you use oversampling, it starts to like hurt your transients, right? I noticed this when I was using like FabFilter Pro L. You feel me? So this is a strategic way you can use Soothe too when you engage the oversampling. If your computer can handle it, right? When I was using FabFilter Pro L, I was like, okay, I was doing ×2 oversampling, right? And then when the mix was over, I was like, okay, I'm gonna upgrade it to ×32 sampling because it sounds a little bit more high definition. And then after that, when I put the ×32 oversampling, I'm like, what the hell happened to my kick and my bass? Like it completely changed. So oversampling actually does hurt your transients if you try it out, right? So I use that strategically. I'll go on my background vocals and I'll hit ×4 oversampling, right? Because I don't want my background vocals to always hit as hard as the lead vocal. You feel me? Like it would be too much hardness, too much sharpness. The scissors and the knives and the edges would be too jagged, right? When I want to make my backgrounds smoother, I'll use the oversampling, right? But for the most part, when I'm using Soothe, it's only like a dB, maybe like a dB or two, nothing crazy. So I wanted to ask you guys, which one of these plugins are you using? Are you using like Soothe 2, Golfos, Spectral Shaper? I know a lot of people have Golfos too. I know they have that too. Some people have both. Do you guys think that there is a place to have both of these type of plugins? Or when you got one of them, you got all of them? Because I feel like with a lot of plugins, when you do have one of them, you kind of do have all of them low key. I'm not gonna lie, because they all have the same function. You know, they're all like the same car, right? They're all gonna drive you to where you need to go, but they're just a different color. You know, so they just look different. That's all it is. But when it comes to doing the job, most of these plugins all do the job. I like Golfos too. It looks like it's a little bit more streamlined. So I don't know if you guys have this one, but it looks like it's a little bit more streamlined, a little bit more simple. It doesn't let you dial in like how SOOTHE does with, you know, the depth and the sensitivity and the oversampling. I'm sure it has some advanced controls, but for the most part, on face value, it looks pretty simple. Then you have a spectral shaper from IZOTOPE, which is really dope for harshness too. The thing about the spectral shaper from IZOTOPE is it's a little bit more minimalistic. You only just have that one band. So if you, let's say you were working on a vocal, right, and you had harshness in the high mid and also the low mid, you know, I usually do something like this, you know, where it would be working on the low mid and the high mid. The spectral shaper is kind of like a handicap a little bit because it only lets you narrow how you trying to shoot. You feel me? It only lets you put that red dot on one target, pretty much. And then the last one you have is Waves Silk, which is pretty dope. That's like a one that recently came out. I don't know if anybody used it yet. If y'all did use it, let me know how that one sounds though, because I might just do a video about it. I just really think it's dope how you got all these resonance type of plugins. They're really dope, but for the most part, I like to use them lightly. So I don't know, maybe you guys like to use them heavy-handed on your ad libs or, you know, certain harsh sounds like one-shot effects. Let me know how you guys feel down below. I just want to say thanks a lot for being a great part of my YouTube family. Appreciate y'all now. How do y'all feel about these SOOTHE plugins as well as AI technology when it comes to music production? Appreciate y'all now. Peace.